The Crystal Cave by Mary Stewart. Book 3, The Wolf, 11. I woke in a room splendidly lined with embroidered hangings, where sunlight spilled through the window to lay bright oblongs on a boarded floor. I moved cautiously, testing my limbs. I had not been hurt. There was not even a trace of a headache. I was naked, softly and warmly bedded in furs, and my limbs moved without a hint of stiffness. I blinked wonderingly at the window, then turned my head to see Cadle standing beside the bed, relief spreading over his face like light after a cloud. "And about time," he said. "Cadle, Mithras, but it's good to see you. What's happened? Where is this?" "Vortigern's best guest chamber, that's where it is. You fixed him, young Merlin. You fixed him proper." "Did I? I don't remember. I got the impression that they were fixing me. Do you mean they're not still planning to kill me?" "Kill you? Stick you in a sacred cave, more like, and sacrifice virgins to you? Pity it'd be such a waste. I could use a bit of that myself." "I'll hand them over to you." "Oh, Cadle, but it is good to see you. How did you get here?" "I just got back from the nunnery gate when they came for your mother. I heard them asking for her and saying they'd got you, and were taking the pair of you off to Vortigern at cocklight next day. I spent half the night finding Merrick, and the other half trying to get a decent horse. And I might as well have saved myself the pains. I had to settle for that screw you bought. Even the pace you went. I was near a day behind you by the time you got to Pennell. Not that I wanted to catch up till I saw which way the land lay. Well, never mind. I got here in the end, at dusk yesterday, and found the place buzzing like a hive that's been trodden on." He gave a short bark of a laugh. "It was Merlin this and Merlin that. They call you the king's prophet already. When I said I was your servant, they couldn't shove me in here fast enough. Seems there isn't exactly a rush to look after sorcerers of your class. Can you eat something?" "No, yes, I can. I'm hungry." I pushed myself up against the pillows. "Wait a minute. You say you got here yesterday. How long have I slept?" "The night and the day. It's wearing on for sunset. The night and the day. Then it's Cadle. What happened to my mother? Do you know?" "She's gone safe away home. Don't fret yourself about her. Get your food now while I tell you. Here." He brought a tray on which was a bowl of steaming broth and a dish of meat with bread and cheese and dried apricots. I could not touch the meat, but ate the rest while he talked. "She doesn't know a thing about what you tried to do or what happened. When she asked about you last night, they told her you were here, royally housed and high in the king's favour. They told her you'd spat in the priest's eyes, in a manner of speaking, and prophesied fit to beat Solomon, and were sleeping it off comfortable. She came to take a look at you this morning to make sure, and saw you sleeping like a baby. Then she went off. I didn't get a chance to speak to her, but I saw her go. She was royally escorted, I can tell you. She'd half a troop of horse with her, and her woman had litters nearly as grand as herself." "You say I prophesied, spat in the priest's eyes." I put a hand on my head. I wish I could remember. We were in the cave under King's Fort. "They've told you about that, I suppose?" I stared at him. "What happened to Cadle?" "You mean to tell me you don't remember?" I shook my head. "All I know is they were going to kill me." "What happened, Cadle?" "You mean you don't remember?" I shook my head. "All I know is they were going to kill me to stop their rotten tower from falling down, and I put up a bluff. I thought I could discredit their priest. If I could discredit their priests, I might save my own skin. But all I ever hoped to do was make a bit of time so that maybe I could get away. Aye, I heard what they were going to do. Some people are dead ignorant, you'd wonder at it." But he was watching me with the look that I remembered. "It was a funny kind of bluff, wasn't it? How did you know where to find the tunnel?" "Oh, it was easy. I've been in these parts before as a boy. I came to this very place once, years ago, with Cedric, who was my servant then, and I was following a falcon through the wood when I found that old tunnel." "I see. Some people might call that luck, if they didn't know you, that is. I suppose you'd been right in?" "Yes, when I first heard about the west wall cracking above, I thought it must be something to do with the old mine workings." I told then, quickly, all that I could remember of what had happened in the cave. "The lights," I said, "the water glittering, the shouting. It wasn't like the seeings I've had before, the white bull and the other things that I've sometimes seen. That was different. For one thing, it hurt. Far more. That must be what death is like, I suppose. I did faint in the end. I don't remember being brought here at all. I don't know about that. When I got in to see you, you was just asleep. Very deep, but quite ordinary, it seemed to me. I make no bones about it. I took a good look at you to see if they'd hurt you, but I couldn't find any sign of it, bar a lot of scratches and grazes they said you'd got in the woods. Your clothes looked like it too, I can tell you. But from the way you were housed here, the way they spoke of you, I didn't think they'd dare raise a finger to you, not now. Whatever it was, a faint or a fit or a trance, more like, you've put the wind up them proper, that you have. Yes, but how exactly did they tell you? Oh, aye, they told me, the ones that could speak of it. Barrack, he's the one that gave you the torch, he told me. He told me they'd all been set to cut your throat, those dirty old priests, and it seems as if the king hadn't been in his wits' end and imprisoned your mother, and the way the pair of you didn't seem frightened of them, he never would have waited. Oh, I heard all about it, don't worry. Barrack said he'd not have given 2 pennies for your life there in the hall when your mother told her story. He shot me a look. All the rigmarole about the devil in the dark, letting you in for this, what possessed her? She thought it would help, I suppose. She thought that the king had found out who my father was, and had us dragged here to see if we had news of his plans. That's what I thought myself. I spoke thoughtfully, and there was something else. When a place is full of superstition and fear, you get to feel it, I tell you. It was breathing goose pimples all over me. She must have felt it too, and you might almost say she took the same line as I did, trying to face the magic with magic. So she told the old tale about my being got by an incubus, with a few extra flourishes to carry it across. I grinned at him. She did it well. I could have believed it myself, if I hadn't known otherwise. But never mind, go on. I want to know what happened in the cavern. Do you mean I talked some kind of sense? Well, now, I didn't mean that exactly. Couldn't make head or tail of what Barrack told me. He swore he had it nearly word for word. It seems he has ambitions to be a singer or something. Well, what he said, you just stood there staring at the water running down the walls, and then you started to talk. Quite ordinary to start with to the king, as if you were explaining how the shaft had been driven into the hill and the veins mined. But then the old priest, Morgan, isn't it, started to shout, "This is fool's talk," or something. Then when suddenly you let out a yell that fair froze the balls on them. Barrack's expression, not mine. He's not used to gentleman's service. And your eyes turned up white, and you put your hands up, and you was pulling, as if you was pulling the stars out of their sockets. Barrack again, he ought to be a poet, and started to prophesy. Yes, that's what they all say. All wrapped up it was, with eagles and wolves and lions and boars, as many other beasts as they'd ever had in the area, and a few more besides, dragons and such, and going hundreds of years forward, which is safe enough, Dia knows, but Barrack said it sounded, a lot of it, as true as a trumpet, and as you'd have given odds on it with your last penny, as if you'd have given odds on it with your last penny. I may have to, I said dryly. If I said anything about Vortigern or my father. Which you did, said Caedal. Well, I'd better know. I'm going to have to stick by it. It was all dressed up like poet stuff, red dragons and white dragons fighting and laying the place waste, showers of blood, all that kind of thing. But it seems you gave them chapter and verse for everything that's going to happen. The white dragon of the Saxons and the red dragon of Ambrosius fighting it out. The red dragon looking not so clever to begin with, but winning in the end, yes. Then a bear coming out of Cornwall to sweep the field clear. A bear? You mean a boar, surely. That's Cornwall's badge. Then he may be still for my father after all. Barrack said a bear. Artus was the word. He took notice because he wondered about it himself, but you were clear about it. He said Artos, you called him Arthur. Some name like that. You mean to tell me you don't remember a word of it? Not a word. Well, look now, I can't remember any more, but if they start coming at you about it, you could find some way of getting them to tell you everything you said. It's quite the thing, isn't it, for prophets not to know what they're talking about, oracles and that. I believe so. All I mean is, if you've finished eating and you really feel all right, perhaps you'd better get up and dress. They're waiting for you out there. What for? For the God's sake, they don't want more advice. Are they moving the site of the tower? No, they're doing what you told them to. What's that? Draining the pool by conduit. They've been working all night and day getting pumps rigged up to get the water out through the adit. But why? That wouldn't make the tower any safer. In fact, it might bring the whole top of the crag in. Yes, I'm finished. Take it away. I pushed the tray into his hands and threw back the bed covers. Cadle, are you trying to tell me I said this in my delirium? Aye, you told them to drain the pool, and at the bottom they'd find the beasts that were bringing the king's fort down. Dragons, you said, red and white. I sat on the edge of my bed, my head in my hands. I remember something now. Something I saw. Yes, that must be it. I did see something under the water, probably just a rock, dragon-shaped. And I remember starting to say something about the king draining the pool, but I didn't tell them to drain it. I was saying, even if you drained the pool, it wouldn't help you. At least that's what I started to say. I dropped my hands and looked up. You mean they're actually draining the place, thinking some water beast is under the rock, rocking the foundations? That's what you told them, Beric said. Beric's a poet. He's dressing it up. Maybe, but they're out there at it now, and the pumps have been working full blast for hours. The king's there waiting for you. I sat silent. He drew me a doubtful look, then took the tray out and came back with towels and a silver basin of steaming water. While I washed, he busied himself over a chest at the far side of the room, lifting clothes from it and shaking out the folds while he talked over his shoulder. You don't look worried. If they do drain the pool to the bottom, there's nothing there. There will be something there. Don't ask me what. I don't know, but if I said so. It's true, you know. The things I see this way are true. I have the sight. His brows shot up. You think you're telling me news? Haven't you scared the toenails off me a score of times with what you say and the things you see that no one else can see? You used to be scared of me, didn't you, Cadle? In a way. But I'm not scared now, and I've no intention of being scared. Someone's got to look after the devil himself as long as he wears clothes and needs food and drink. Now, if you're done, young master, we'll see if these things fit that the king sent for you. The king sent them? Aye, looks like the sort of stuff they think a magician ought to wear. I went over to look. Not long white robes with stars and moons on them and a staff with curled snakes. Oh, really, Cadle? Well, your own stuff's ruined. You've got to wear something. Come on. You look kind of fancy in these, it seems to me. You ought to try and impress them, the spot you're in. I laughed. You may be right. Let me see them. No, not the white. I'm not competing with Morgan's coven. Something dark, I think. And the black cloak. Yes, that'll do. I'll wear the dragon brooch. I hope you do right to be so sure of yourself. Then he hesitated. Look, I know it's all wine and worship now, but maybe we ought to make a break for it straight away and not wait to see which way the dice fall. I could steal a couple of horses, make a break for it. Am I still a prisoner then? There's guards all round looking after you this time, not holding on to you. But by the dog, it comes to the same thing. He glanced at the window. It'll be dusk before long. Look, I could spin some tale out there to keep them quiet, and maybe you could pretend to go to sleep till dark. No, I must stay if I can get Vortigern to listen to me. Let me think, Cadle. You saw Merrick the night you were taken. That means the news is on the way to my father. And if I'm any judge, he will move straight away. So far lucky. The sooner the better, if he can catch Vortigern here in the west before he gets a chance to join again with Hengist. I thought for a moment. Now the ship is due to sail 4 days ago. It sailed before you left Maridunham, he said briefly. What? He smiled at my expression. What did you expect? The Count's own son and his lady hauled off like that? Nobody knew for sure why, but there were stories going about, and even Merrick saw the sense in getting straight back to Ambrosius with that tale. The ship sailed with the tide the same dawn. She'd be out in the estuary before you'd hardly ridden out of town. I stood very still. I remembered that he busied himself around me, draping the black cloak, surreptitiously pulling a fold to cover the dragon brooch that pinned it. Then I drew a long breath. That's all I needed to know. Now I know what to do. The king's prophet, did you say? They speak truer than they know. What the king's prophet must do now is take the heart out of these Saxon-loving vermin and drive Vortigern out of this tight corner of Wales into some place where Ambrosius can smoke him out quickly and destroy him. You think you can do this? I know I can. Then I hope you know how to get us both out of here before they find out whose side you're on. Why not? As soon as I know where Vortigern is bound for, we'll take the news to my father ourselves. I settled the cloak on my shoulders and grinned at him. So steal those horses, Cadel, and have them waiting down by the stream. There's a fallen tree across the water. You can't miss the place. Wait there, where there's cover. I'll come, but first I must go and help Vortigern uncover the dragons. I made for the door, but he got there ahead of me and paused with his hand on the latch. His eyes were scared. You really mean to leave on your own in the middle of that wolf pack? I'm not on my own, remember that. And if you can't trust me, trust what is in me. I have learned to. I've learned that the god comes when he will, and how he will, rending your flesh to get into you, and when he has done, tearing himself free as violently as he came. Afterwards, now, one feels light and hollow, and like an angel flying. No, they can do nothing to me, Catel. Don't be afraid. I have the power. They killed Gallipus. Someday they may kill me, I said. But not today. Open the door. And that is the end of chapter 11.